The way we talk about sustainability matters so much. And the word sustainability itself doesn't mean what it used to. It certainly doesn't resonate the way that it used to with a large part of the population. So I've got a word that I think does a better job of communicating what we all mean by sustainability. Let's jump in. I've been using the word sustainability for a very long time. I did my master's in Sweden in 2007, 2008. The program was called Strategic Leadership Towards Sustainability. I literally had to go to Sweden to do a master's in sustainability. There were no other programs available at the time. When I came back to Canada after doing that, I told everyone about sustainability. That was my word. I loved talking about it because people didn't know what it meant. People were really curious. They wanted to learn more. They wanted to ask me, what does sustainability mean? Especially within the context of the economy or in terms of their finances. Nobody had ever heard that word before. Well, that's not so much the case anymore. Now everybody knows what sustainability means, or at least has their own idea of what it means. And that's part of the problem, because I can figure out someone's political worldview very quickly based on how they react to the word sustainability. Unfortunately, so many people on the conservative end of the spectrum really associate sustainability with wokeness, right? It's in there with DEI and ESG and these other sort of acronym boogeymen. They're worried that the Davos elites are trying to control them and force them to live in 15-minute cities. Could you imagine how terrible it is to live in a walkable community? Like, this is kind of ridiculous, but we're at a point right now where a lot of people do associate sustainability with something that they just want no part of. And the other folks, it's not that much better. There are some of us who really understand sustainability and really appreciate it and are really fighting for that. But for the mushy middle, sustainability really means something that is aspirational, that's far off in the future. It's a nice to have, not a need to have. And especially when people are struggling right now, where so many people are living day to day, week to week, month to month, it's hard to get people to think about the far future, about future generations. They're just not going to go there, because really what we all want at the end of the day is this notion of stability. That's what people are really clamoring for. So when it comes to sustainability, I think part of the issue is that it's kind of too far up on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? It feels like aspirational. It's like once we've got things sorted out, that's when we can start thinking about sustainability. But for now, so many people are focused on, paying their rent and having housing and food and just basic necessities. They're not able to go there. They're not able to think or dream about what a sustainable future could look like. And I get it. Things are feeling really, really unstable right now. It sucks. If you've got a job, you're worried about, job security. If you don't have a job right now, good luck trying to navigate this job market. There's so much job insecurity. People are really hurting when it comes to meeting their own basic needs, that I totally understand why something that is sort of forward-looking and aspirational is just not going to be high up on the priority list. I completely get it. Because here's the thing. What we all want is this notion of safety and stability. That's what we all want at the end of the day. We all want to feel safe, and we all want to feel stable in our lives, in our job, in our family, in our community, especially right now when things feel so unstable. It's kind of ridiculous. So when I did come home from Sweden and started talking about sustainability, I'll never forget my dad saying, "You know what, Tim, that's a bit of a mouthful." And I've come to really understand what he was saying, that sustainability just has too many letters in it. So when I'm talking about sustainability right now, especially to a more conservative crowd, I'm dropping a whole bunch of letters from it. And instead I'm talking about stability, because I think that's what really matters. That's what people want right now. That's what's at the base of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We all need stability. So instead of talking about climate change, I'm talking about climate stability. Instead of talking about affordable housing, don't get me wrong, we need affordable housing, but I'm talking about housing stability. Instead of talking about income inequality, I'm talking about income stability. And instead of talking about food sustainability, I'm talking about food stability. Because what I'm finding is that is grounding these conversations. It's allowing me to reach a much wider audience. And stability is inherent in sustainability. They are exactly the same thing. We're trying to achieve the same exact thing, right? It's just that stability feels more in the moment. It feels more immediate, whereas sustainability feels a little far off and aspirational. And I think it's interesting because I feel that we need more stability to be able to achieve sustainability. I remember when Hurricane Sandy hit New York City. This was back in sort of 2010, 2012, somewhere around then. I wrote a blog about it for my blog, sustainableeconomist.com. I told you how much I love the word sustainability. I literally referred to myself as the sustainable economist for quite a while. And back on my blog, I wrote about how Hurricane Sandy, a major climate event hitting the center of the global financial industry, I figured this would wake up the stock market to climate risk, that Mother Nature couldn't have landed a more precise blow than a hurricane straight to Wall Street. But what I've realized since then is that sadly, as things become more unstable, as things get worse, people actually shift towards fascism. That the easy solutions become more attractive. Someone with an easy slogan to create sustainability is going to resonate with folks. That we're now seeing blaming of the most vulnerable, of immigrants, of refugees, of our trans brothers and sisters who are being blamed for an unstable economy. Like, what is this? Whereas I used to think that things would have to get worse before they'd get better, that as things deteriorated and got worse and worse, that we would understandably want solutions, that we would try to fix these things. Now I've realized that might actually not be the case at all, that as things get worse, things could actually be getting worse. It could be harder to achieve sustainability. So that's why I do think we need stability first in order to then have sustainability. That by focusing on people's fundamental human needs, stable housing, stable income, stable food, right? That by having that in people's lives, that's what's then going to allow us as a society to be able to collectively say, hey, we have it so good right now. How do we enshrine this for future generations? But if someone doesn't feel stable right now, it's going to be a really hard sell to get them to think about the long-term future. And I really get it. For people who are living in Alberta right now, I'm hearing a lot about their desire for short-term economic stability. And they've been told that a pipeline is the quickest, easiest way for them to have short-term economic stability. Now, I don't agree with that argument, but I can really understand it. And I can understand how attractive that idea is for people. But when we're talking about stability, we should have this conversation to say, okay, short-term economic stability versus maybe longer-term climate stability, right? If those things are in conflict, let's talk about those trade-offs. Let's be honest with ourselves and understand that we all want the same thing. We all want safety and stability. We might just have different ways of trying to achieve that. Talking about stability puts us all on the same ground. It allows us to have really hard conversations, but in a way where we can appreciate that this other person wants the same thing that we want. So I really feel that where sustainability has become a little bit divisive now, stability is a word that's really going to bring us together, that's going to unite us. Because at the end of the day, that is what we all want. We all want safety and stability, especially right now. Things are so unstable, it's really hard to be able to think ahead and to be able to plan ahead. So when we have this vision of stability, right, that's something that's really going to unite us and allow us to move forward together. That once we've met our base levels of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that's going to allow us to be more aspirational and to be able to fight for a long-term future. Now, I'm not ready to call it stable investing just yet. Okay, I'm still going to be talking about sustainable investing, and that still is my word, especially as it relates to investment strategies. But I do think that sustainable investing does mean a more stable investment portfolio. Not only in the sense that community bonds and some of these impact investments are really gosh darn stable, that in volatile times, whether markets are way up or markets are way down, impact investments stay very simple and boring. So they do add some degree of stability to our portfolios. But more importantly, I think it's really about having stability in our emotions. That the markets are going to get choppy, right? And the one thing I can promise, I can't promise that they go up. I can't promise that they're going to crash and go down. What I can promise is that they're going to be very, very choppy. And so during a stormy season, having conviction in our investment portfolio, having a portfolio that is aligned with our values, is so critical towards achieving this degree of psychological stability. That my mantra, no matter whether markets are up or down, it's stay calm and rebalance. And it's a lot easier to stay calm and rebalance when we really believe in the investment portfolio that we've got. That's why it's so important to align our investments with our values. Because when we believe in what we're investing in, we're way more likely to ride out the storm. So as much as I recognize that I want a sustainable economy as much as absolutely anybody in this world, in order to achieve a more sustainable economy, I need to start talking more about stability and helping people achieve some degree of stability in their own lives so that they have this financial fulfillment that they can then help other people, including future generations. If you're looking to join a community of like-minded people who care about sustainability and, yes, stability, then I invite you to join the Good Investing Classroom. I'm there to answer all your questions, big and small. There are other people that are in there that are trying to do the exact same thing that you are, which is align their investments with their values to help create a more stable economy and ecosystem. If you've made it this far, thank you so much. The best way to support me for free is by liking this video, leave a comment, ask me a question, share it with your friends, give 5 stars on your favorite podcast app. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time.